Hey, and welcome to another 31 Days of Horror 2015 segment. The segment where I try and watch 31 horror movies I've never seen before during the 31 days of October. This just happens to be movie 31, and I haven't even gotten to Halloween yet. And I'm watching Ouija, or Ouija, however you like to pronounce it. I go Ouija. Yes, the 2014 film based off of, the board game, and not since, let me just get it here, I think it's right here. Not since, Battleship have we seen such great board game meets film adaptation. It's, yeah, wow. Ouija, yeah, I had to leave Ouija for my 31st film, didn't I? But I wanted to cover something a little bit modern, something that people would recognize, and pull that off. But you know what? A PG-13 horror film isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you should go into it a little weary. Yeah, I mean, because, well, you're not going to get a lot of nudity, if any at all. Probably not. Violence is going to be slightly toned down, though sometimes it's, ramped up, if it's Transformers. And the scares, well, there's where you're kind of hoping that it works for you. That and the story. Now, the story here is essentially a girl has a Ouija board and she dies, and her friends having a hard time dealing with it. They eventually find the same Ouija board and decide that they're going to do, to try and get some closure, they're going to do a little spirit board action, right? And unfortunately, they, as is always the case, they don't get in contact with the person they're trying to get in contact. They get in contact with some evil thing. And so the story itself here isn't that bad. I was actually okay with the story, and I'm okay with the way it was kind of told, short of a few, aspects of any film. It's not close to perfect. So, it's understandable that there's going to be little things in here and there that you're just like, oh, that was not very good, or, ooh, why did you do that? That doesn't make any sense. But as a story in general, I was okay with it, and, as ghost stories go, there are a lot worse and a lot more confusing and stuff that just doesn't make sense. And Ouija, for the, I'd say for the most part, it made sense. It went in a direction and it stayed in that direction. But where it kind of falls flat is the scares. It's not a very scary movie. It has a few attempts at jump scares, some a little bit better than others, but nothing really, jump out of your seat scary type thing here. You watch it and you're just kind of, whatever. And I think part of this has to do with the fact that this was directed by Styles White, who's a first-time director. Never directed anything before, not even short films. Has worked in the film industry, but, not in the directing chair. So I think it really does show here that he doesn't quite have the oomph needed. Now the cast, I was okay with the cast. I think the acting was decent by all around. I didn't have any problem with anybody in particular. I mean, there's moments and stuff of dialogue and delivery where you're just like, okay. But, you get that with a lot of these you know, mainstream release horror films. But yeah, I mean, in terms of who's in the film, like the group of teenage friends, one is played by Olivia Cooke, who actually had quite a bit of experience going into this. You may know her from The Quiet Ones. She was Jane Harper, or The Signal. She played the character of Haley. But yeah, she's, you know, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. She was Rachel in that. But you may know her for fans of horror television from Bates Motel. She's Emma Ducote. And so, she's clearly, you know, not just experienced, but experienced with the genre itself. So I think she played her part exactly how I would envision her doing it for this type of film. And that being the case, you know, like I said, everybody in terms of their acting was okay. There was also in the films Anna Koto, who played the role of Sarah Morris, one of the teenagers, and she was essentially a nobody. She hadn't really done anything previously. There's also Darren Kagasoff, who played the role of Trevor. Now, he, on the other end, has quite a bit of experience. Not necessarily in the genre, but if you ever watched The Secret Life of the American Teenager, something I never watched but I did know of, he played the character of Ricky Underwood. So if you're a fan of his, you know, him there, then, you know, you get to see more of him in this film. He definitely has the, you know, a face for these type of movies. And I think it was good, well cast for him. He really fit the role. Next up would be Bianca Santos, who plays the role of Isabel. She's essentially a nobody again. She had some experience though going into this with roles in television and stuff like that. So she wasn't completely green, but she wasn't really used that much either. So not really something you got to worry about. One person who I really liked seeing in this film, who I really like as an actor, and I really wish had been used more, even though he was used quite a fair bit, is the actor Douglas Smith, who plays the role of Pete in this film. But he's also been in Santa's Sleigh, Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters, Stage Fright, Hangman's Curse. He even started off early in his career as a small bit role in Trancers 6. But most people are going to know him either through, I think it was an HBO? No, Showcase? I don't know. The television series Big Love. He was Ben Henriksen. And if you didn't watch that, which I highly suggest you watch, Big Love's a great show. Then you may have seen him more recently as the young John Connor in Terminator Genesis. And if that doesn't ring any bells, then he's also in one of my favorite, well, not favorite, but a film I really, really, really like because of the subject matter and technically, I guess, partially for who directed it, and that's the film Antiviral. He was in that one as Edward Porras, and if you don't know that, that's the film directed by Brandon Cronenberg, son of David Cronenberg. So, yeah, the cast was a mix, right? You got newcomers, you got some people who are seasoned, some people who are really seasoned, who've been working, like for a long time. And I think it worked in this film. Where it really falls apart is just, you know, like it's the scares. Ouija is not a scary movie. It tries, but it fails. And, you know, I'm gonna put all of that on the director Styles White. Ouija falls and fails because of him. He just wasn't able to really pull it off. The story was basic. It wasn't anything elaborate, so he shouldn't have had any problems there. It's essentially, he just shot it. Here's what's going on here. There was no, I didn't see any creativity going on here, and I didn't see any proper development of tension or and I mean, if you can't even pull off the jump scares really well, then, you know, what good is it? I can't recommend Ouija. Like, I wouldn't say go out and watch it, but at the same time, I wouldn't have a problem watching it again. I mean, there's a lot of films that are probably on par with this, you know, mainstream release horror films that are similar vein, whether they be slasher or ghost stories or stuff like that. Very much on par with this, and I've watched them multiple times. So, I mean, why wouldn't I watch Ouija again, right? Like, maybe, you know, you gotta do a double board game double bill, right? Like, get them together. I can't wait until, you know, like Monopoly or the Game of Life comes out. Honestly, I see both of, well, Monopoly you could do as sort of a thriller, a drama thriller, you know, dealing with the buying and selling. You could do it as a comedy. But a Game of Life, I definitely see as a comedy. I definitely see that one as a comedy. It should, you know, if they ever do it. But yeah, I mean, they just gotta keep these board game movies coming, because I'm loving it, right? Like, yeah. Anyways, whatever. They're not good. Battleship wasn't good. Ouija wasn't good. But at the same time, I've watched Battleship a few times, so I'll probably watch Ouija a few times, right? Well, maybe that's just me. Who knows? Anyways, still a couple of days left in October. I'll probably get at least another video, another movie in, so keep watching. More 31 Days of Horror probably coming up. This is the 31st film in my 31 Days of Horror segment. Ouija. Till next time, guys and gals, take care. Have a good one.